Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. Microphone is up and ready to go. Atomic batteries are charged. Install the direct velocity. I was gonna say something funny, but brain's too much work today. Not brain work well. All right. Well, anyhow, welcome to the Pocket Dimension. I'm sorry I'm a little tardy, but as you know, a wizard is never late. I'm not a wizard. I'm not into the occult. Sorry, at all. Thank you. So, yeah. So here we go. We're gonna keep on working some more on these orange Space Marines. My custom chapter, the Nova Wolves, so that I can use the spear, the wolf spear decals. So we're going to paint some more on these guys tonight. And let me just do a thing here. I'm going to go here. And I'm going to do a thing here. And then that way I can watch chat on there. And I can watch chat on here. Why in the world would I have... Oh, I see. Okay. Well, memory's getting low on that device. Interesting. Okay. So, let's take a look here. Alright. I'm going to watch the stream, watch the chat on the other devices here because I haven't figured out how to... I haven't had time to figure out how to make the Social Stream Ninja work yet. Because that happens sometimes. So. Okay, it happens a lot that I don't have a lot of time. Sometimes. Sometimes I have some time. Other times I don't have time. Anyhow. So here we are. Painting orange Space Marines. So I didn't stream last night because I was in a lot of pain. Because work, I had to dig a lot last 2 days. So old man and digging don't go together too well. I'm not really old. I'm only 51. That's not really old. That's in the Middle Ages, which, if you're going to be in the middle age category, they should let you wear like full set of armor around. And they should just give you a knighthood anyway. If you make it to 50, they should give you a knighthood. That's my thoughts. So, anyhow, let's get the old Optivisor on here and start slinging some paint here. Sling the paint, 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 sling, sling, sling the paint. All right, so as you know, I'm redressing grievances with the Nova Orange color, where we're going back over where we've used the Agrax Earth Shade and just touching up so that we can get away from some of these big old tea stains and the like right here and let it actually do the lining as the shades are intended to do. So we're just going to clean that up a little bit. And yeah, it's going to look great, folks. I was having a hard time with this orange before because I was using straight orange, but the Nova Orange is a little bit less saturated in color. So I'm a lot happier just going with that instead of trying to go bright. I thought Nova Orange was going to be brighter, but it isn't. So anyhow, hey, by the way, while I'm here, because I don't know how to do it, I can't invite somebody on the channel right now because I'm technologically illiterate. But let's give a shout out to Impending Duff, because today marks his 7th anniversary of streaming on Twitch. He's also on YouTube, but today he's doing his streamiversary stream. The 7th year, 7th day, so at 7 o'clock, right? So 777. So that should go across the platform there. Let him know we're thinking of him over here. Congratulations. Probably go in and see if he's up and running later on at the end of the stream here. We'll see if we can raid him if he's still up on the stream. So, but congratulations on making it 7 years on the platform and figuring out a way to make his art pay. That is admirable. So anyhow, here we go. So we're just touching up any place where it looks a little dull and dingy. Just adding some brightness back to the orange there. Because the Agrax Earthshade likes to kind of dirty everything down really significantly at times. So just kind of want to bring it back up a bit. And get some of that coffee staining remedied. Hey Miar, how's it going? Good to see you tonight. I was not feeling too hot last night. My back was killing me. I dug a ditch Wednesday and Thursday both, and then I tried to I needed to lay the pipe down in the ditch, and I was doing that, but yesterday, well, I had to go and get a flamethrower to heat the pipe up so I could bend it, because I was of the mind that I could just put a 45 elbow in there. I really wanted to get a 22.5 elbow, but they didn't have any. So that wasn't helpful because the 45 was way too much. But, oh well. So yesterday was really frustrating. Frustrating and digging, and it was muddy, so I was slipping trying to go up the hill and not falling in the ditch and digging. It was a pretty awful day. I wasn't feeling too good when I got home because, just my back was killing me. Which I understand is a side effect of getting old. Yeah, it was conduit. Yeah, 2-inch conduit, 2-inch PVC. So I was not in moving too fast this morning either. But I had a service call this afternoon, and I got back. I got back here at the house just at 6:30. So I needed to get some food in me before I started the stream tonight. So, which being late is considerably rude to people that want to watch the stream, but at the same time, I'm a person too, and I have to live my life. I have to eat and I have to drink. I need rest and I need sleep. I'm not a machine. I am a man, not a machine. So, I don't like missing streams because I know a lot of people carve out time out of the week to watch the streams, so it's a little rude when I have to cancel, but these things do tend to happen sometimes. Or when I'm late, that's not good either. Hey DD, what's going on? Thanks for the lurk. Have a good stream tonight, my man. My dude. Awesome. I think DD is actually collaborating tonight with somebody. So that's pretty cool. So we'll shout out DD Minis. So he's streaming again, and I think this weekend he's streaming with 2 or 3 different people, doing some collaborative works there. So that's pretty nifty. He's been turning out some really great 40K stuff. He really enjoys that 40K stuff, which is just fine. Paint the things you like, right? This is your hobby. You should do the things that you like. With it. Just like anything else. There's not really a wrong way to approach it. And if you can find people to work with to enhance your hobby, enhance your experience, that's pretty cool too. So next weekend I've got a paint and take. And then 2 weeks after that is Adepticon. So lots of hobby activity this month. Lots. So been playing Oblivion lately. Okay, very cool. That's the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Miar, I take it. I'm trying to remember if I ever played that. That's an older game, right? Or is that the newer one? I can't keep up with all of those. but I know Oblivion was like the big one, like one that just really a lot of people really enjoyed Oblivion. As to why I'm oblivious. Dum. Older. Yeah, it is an older game, right? Okay. Good. I think that one won a lot of awards and such for design and play style. Well, I can't get in there to get that little bit. I just can't get in there. It's just gonna have to be in the shadow, I guess. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows. Ah, ah, ah. Great stuff, man. Who knows? The shadow knows. Sky Oblivion. It's to play Oblivion in the Skyrim engine, totally remade. Now Skyrim is the one I think really knocks it out of the park. Yeah, yeah, no doubt. There, Miar. I know I've played some Elder Scrolls game long time ago. I couldn't remember. I don't remember if it was Oblivion or what. That's interesting that they're putting the gameplay from Oblivion into Skyrim in the Skyrim engine or whatever. It doesn't. I mean, it sounds pretty cool, but I'm with you. You just can't beat an original, right? Hard to beat the original. You ever get a song in your head and it's just in the background and it's not really irritating. It's just there. I've got System of a Down BYOB in the back of my head right now. Do 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 do. I watched a this morning. I watched a fella play a bass version of it. Like instead of all the guitar parts, he actually did on bass. So that was pretty cool. I don't know if you can even play the OG. Not sure. Never even seen it played. I've seen Daggerfall though, which is two. Yeah, I don't think I played. I don't think I played Daggerfall. I can't say that I played Daggerfall. It might have been. It might have been Oblivion. It might have been. It's hard to say. Maybe trying too hard on this. Maybe trying too hard to get this edge right here. Maybe trying too hard. Maybe we're just trying too hard. I've got to be careful of singing on YouTube. That AI it'll pick up any snatch of song and give you a ding for it. Not that I sing on key that it could actually recognize it anyway. I mean, I guess you're pretty safe if you're a bad singer like me. Cause I'm in too deep and I'm trying to keep. There you go. Now it's in your head. At least I got BYOB out of my head now. Now I've got Fat Lip from Sum 41 in my head. Ha ha ha. And now it's in your head. Dun dun dun. Hey Blades, how you doing? Good to see you tonight. Appreciate you stopping in. Did you stream tonight, or are you getting ready to stream? I can't remember if you stream on Friday nights or not. I'm usually not even near the computer on Friday nights, so I can't keep track of who's doing what. Did early. Oh, okay. Okay. You know what's funny is I saw a YouTube video in the thumbnail. I didn't watch the video yet, but I saw the thumbnail. And it talked about giving more texture to your armor. And of course it was showing a unit from that Trench Crusade game. And it had this real pebbly looking texture to the armor, like there's an effect paint underneath that they used. And I was like, you know what? I can get that same effect if I just, if I'm not patient. We're so used to doing things smoothly that sometimes we forget that it's okay to have a little texture. So this has some texture, not because I meant for it to have texture, but because I am too doggone impatient. That's my problem, folks. It's like I'm not waiting for the paint to dry fully, and so I'm starting to tear it and to pull it, and that's just not good. Not good for your final product if you're trying to have some nice smooth looking surfaces. But maybe rough armored surfaces will be maybe that'll be the new hotness. Like two brush wet blending and glazes, grisaille. Oh, sorry, slap chop. I mean. Right there. Right there. Looks like we got some ads coming in about a minute and a half. Just to let you know. Over here on the Twitch. Looks like we got a couple people watching over on the YouTube side of things. Welcome. Hope your evening is going well. Hope you got some nice plans for the weekend. And plans also include sitting on the couch and vegging. That's also a valid plan. Time spent relaxing is not wasted time. I had somebody tell me that one time because I was feeling bad about relaxing and catching up on sleep and whatnot. And they said to me, they said, "Did it benefit you?" I said, "Yeah." They said, "It's not wasted time then." So if it benefits you, it's not wasted time. If you feel better, you're able to deal with things afterwards, then time spent relaxing is not wasted at all. I think sometimes we're a little too concerned at times that if we're not doing something or being productive or doing something all the time, that we're not doing enough. But that's really not the case. Yo, Savage Brewski, how you doing over there on the YouTube side of things? Good to see you. I saw your messages before the stream started, so I'll keep my eyes out for the in the post, and we'll check that out on stream here when those items get here. So thank you for the package. It's on its way, I'm sure. So, oh, it shows delivered. I'll have to check. I will have to check. Here when we take a bio break here, I'll take a look. So, we'll take a look here in a minute or two. Actually, let me get finished with this guy. And we'll take a look on the front stoop and see if it's here. So Savage Brewski I met online along with his comrades in arms, Patty of Patty's Parlor Games, who wrote the Mutants game that I reviewed here. Oh, has it been a year ago? Maybe 2 years now. So Mutants over at you can find it at Giant Slayer Games. Mutants with an exclamation point. I believe he still has it as pay what you want. But it's a fun little game. You can use any miniatures you want because anything can be a mutant, right? So it plays on a 3x3, 3-inch by 3-inch grid system. So if you've got the, you could always just mark it out yourself on a big piece of paper, or you could use, if you happen to have the Mantic Dead Zone play mats. Dead Zone or Walking Dead, anything by Mantic usually plays on that 3x3 size grid. But it's a really well written, simple little game. So it's just kind of a beer and pretzel sort of a thing. So check out Mutants by Patty's Parlor's Games over on Giant Slayer Games. Check them out. And he and his wife have a newborn, not newborn, but few months old yet now. So if you wanted to help them out by purchasing any of his other products that he's worked on for other people, that'd be great too. A few dollars for Mutants is not a bad thing. So check it out. Throw him a couple of bucks for the PDF of Mutants. Anyway, yeah, it's X-Men meets Thunderdome. 2 men enter, no men leave. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the best way to describe it. From what Savage, I agree with Savage Brewski over on YouTube. PADDY PADDY apostrophe S. Patty's Parlor Games. So he's also been doing some illustration for some Shadow Dark adjacent pieces, I think. So Shadow Dark is like the new hotness as far as role-playing games go, if you know anything about that. But he's been doing some artwork for people writing expansions and the like for those. But let's see. Restart to install the latest Windows updates. No, I don't think I will. Let's see. All right, so that guy is pretty well mostly painted, I think. So, except for his faceplate. I didn't do his faceplate. Let me do his faceplate real quick. I've got a lot of work to do on his faceplate. What I might do, I might wait until after I do his eyes to retouch up his faceplate. So, I'm going to set that dude aside. Let's go see if there's anything on the front porch from Savage Brewski. So, I will be right back. I wish I had like something really cool to show off here, but I don't. So let's just go to the title screen. Yeah, and then I'm going to silence the mic, and I'll be back in just a moment, and we'll see if Savage Brewski package has indeed arrived, or if I have been pirated. All right, we are back. All right, so I'm going to open this upside down because I don't want to dox Brewski by any means. So, we're going to open this upside down. All right. So, here we go. I need a hobby knife. I thought I had one out here already. So, anyhow, Brewski sent me something here. I sent him a housewarming gift here a few months ago, and he has been doing some cool things. So let's see what he sent here. Brewski also does 3D printing. He's a big fan of the one-page rules. There's cat hair. we got some 3D prints here. Ah, look at this. Okay, so we've got an urn. So we got some elfy or Eldari looking things. Maybe even you could even use these for ancients, maybe. So we got a big suitcase, looks like, and a book, amphora, and a vase. A little rub this, maybe a genie will come out. Very cool. So we got several pieces. We got several pieces stuck down with blue tape. The blue tape has all sorts of things stuck to it. And we got some crystals here. Crystals growing out of a tree even. Oh, with runes on them even. Nifty. Nifty neato. So these are resin cast. A resin print. So here is another jar and a suitcase and a sword. Looks like there's a kofesh there. Yeah. So this is looking pretty cool. Thank you very much, Brewski. Appreciate it, man. I really do. These are nifty neato. They can be used for objectives, for scenery. Yep. Somebody was a sculptor and they gave up right there. They're sitting there chiseling away on a face and they didn't know where they were going to do with it, so they just set it there. You can make funny little stories about this stuff, you know. And oh look, they here's the Lochnar. What else we got here? We got another little face sculpt here. Somebody was going to be the next elfiest elf, Michelangelo, and kind of got sidetracked probably. So they just left it as it was. Some crystals, a little bit of everything on that one. Very cool. And here's a standalone vase. Nifty. Very cool. Let's see if there's anything else here in this box. Oh wow! Oh my! Oh! Well, I think I got the goods. Look. So I always appreciate when people go to to the extent to make cool things. I actually really like it when people make things, and this is incredibly generous of him. These 6 pieces are terrific. I'm over the hill. But he snuck some other things in this box, guys, folks. So he made these for me, which I really appreciate this probably most of all. But he snuck some other things in here. He threw in a couple of detail brushes. A standard brush. He threw in some Reaper brushes. Look at that. So we'll try those out. So, Master Series Paint Reaper brushes. Let's see. Small gelatinous cube. Very cool for small people. So I've never had a gelatinous cube before, but that would actually work in some small area, as well as that would actually work very well with original size 25 millimeter figures. Because 25 millimeter figures are considerably small, generally, and that would work really well with original, like Rao Partha's. And then we got a Bonsylvanian Tut, very cool. So he'll go good. I've got Gil because I'm a big fan of the. I really like the old creature from the Black Lagoon. And so I got Gil packed in with when I ordered some stuff up for the paint takes that I do, I got a pack in with Gil. So he'll look real good. So Tut and Gil will look good hanging out with each other. And we got Thean Valand, a human cleric. Very cool. He's well outfitted for an adventure. He's got a backpack and everything. So that's pretty cool. Nifty. And if you can notice, so Reaper has switched over to high volume 3D printing as well. And something I've noticed about a lot of 3D print stuff is because it's slightly porous and has a nice rough surface native to it, you don't really have to worry too much about priming it. You can just start painting it. Which Bones, the PVC of Bones, was designed so that you could just start painting it. So anything, the way I see it, is anything you can do or any kind of line that you can invest in to get it out of the package and onto the table quicker, that saves you a whole step. So yeah, well, thank you very much there, Savage. Appreciate it. Hey Itzy, how you doing? Oh yeah, that's Itzy is Miar over on YouTube. Okay, because all right, so let's go back over here. Muttball. Oh hey Muttball. Oh, Muttball is over. Okay, so let's see. First time chat, Muttball. I got a bonus from work, and I'm here to spread the wealth on a coin flip. Heads, you get a sub. Tails, you get nothing. I hope you read this till I go to the next. All right. Well, I don't have a coin on me, but I do have a D20. So 10 or less, I get nothing, and 11 or higher, I get something. 18. You owe me a sub. Right on. How's it going, Muttball? Nice to see you. First time here. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you stopping in. Thank you for spreading the wealth. That always helps. Nice. Thanks for that gift sub. So that is terrific. All right. So we're just swimming in all sorts of goodness tonight. So Muttball, do you stream as well? Because if you do, we'll give you a little shout out. Yeah. So this is some 40K stuff. I really don't do a lot. Oh nope, auto worker. Okay. Well, that's fair. I'm an electrician. But yeah, so I don't really do a lot of 40K stuff figure wise. I tend to do things like commissions. So I've got some stuff to do for Ralpartha Legacy. This is going to be what we call the Angry Strawberry. I just had these guys in the case that I wanted to. Let's see. So I've got some Arthurians here from. I've got some other things to do for Ralpartha Legacy. Also, I paint. I've been painting backdrops. So I've been painting backdrops for my miniatures, right? So I can have something to put them in front of for taking pictures. So that's a little weird juxtaposition there, but you kind of get the idea. Yeah, so I paint a lot of different things. I'm not really stuck to 40K. Yeah, I guess you'd say Bob Ross style. Yeah. I've got another one sketched out here that I just haven't started. I wanted to paint some figures. If I started pivoting and just painted backdrops on every stream, I think that'd get pretty old, and that's really, this channel is kind of about the hobby in a holistic sense, like everything that you can do in the hobby. It's just I don't have time to do everything in the hobby on here. I just have to do it in small bites and do what I can when I can. So I did a 2 or 3 weeks of just painting backdrops, which I believe those are actually on my YouTube as VODs. So anyhow, I did one for when I do up some spaceships, and I got kind of a nighttime desert one too as well here. So those are the ones I finished up so far. I've got a lot more planned, but as it is, I can only do so much with so much time that I have, because if you're like me, you're a 40 an hour week plus worker. So as adults, sometimes we don't get to do everything we want to do. You just got the Space Marine Combat Patrol. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I don't really know too much about the rules for Combat Patrol per se. But I like the idea of smaller games that you can finish quick. So, but I'm painting these up. These are what I call my Nova Wolves. So White Dwarf had the wolf spear decals. I've got them here somewhere. Last time I pulled these down, everything went everywhere. Let's see. Well, I've got the wolf spear decals here somewhere. Are they up here yet? Yeah, here they are. No, that's not them. Here they are. Nope, that's not them either. Those are for vehicles. Well, I can't find my wolf spear decals at the moment, but the wolf spear, I liked the design on. I like them as a successor chapter to the Space Wolves, and I'm already doing Space Wolves as well, just as kind of a little side project, like a really side project. But I'm doing them all in Firstborn. So I had these Primaris that somehow I just kind of accumulated, as you do with 40K stuff from time to time. And I said I wanted to do something interesting with them. And I've been trying to figure out, do I paint them up as a Codex basic chapter, red, blue, green, Marines, yellow? What do I do with them? So one day I was at Lowe's. Here's the Wolf Spear transfer sheets. Yeah. So this is the Wolf Spear transfer sheet here, and I wanted to do something cool with it, but I didn't want to do the white armor from the Wolf Spear chapter. So I happened to be at Lowe's, because I go to supply houses and Lowe's in the course of my day a lot of times, and I found let me grab it. I'll just grab it off the shelf and show you. They had this ultra matte Rust-Oleum burnt sienna. So ultra matte burnt sienna bonds to plastic, which is good. Some people say don't like this because they think it comes out too thick, but I really have never had any problems with it. But it was ultra matte. So ultra matte is always good. Anything that's flat or matte is always going to be good for priming, because it gives you that tooth for your paint to stick to. So the primer sticks to the plastic, and then your paint sticks to the primer. Well, this is obviously a paint and primer, but it's a primer because it's matte. So matte or flat. But the cool thing is these paints nowadays, these companies, Rust-Oleum and Krylon both, I think they've kind of grokked to the fact that if they sell a flat color that's an interesting color, they've got a pretty wide audience with hobbyists, right? So we've got this, and like there's other ones that are flat that I got that are fashion colors, and it's just It used to be the only thing you could find that was flat black or flat white. Now you can find all these fashion colors in flat colors that are absolutely, they're just fine for doing your miniatures with. And I think this was what, $6 or $7 maybe. Whereas if you try to buy the hobby branded stuff like the Vallejo's like $14 a can, $15 a can. I got some over there. Army Painter is like almost $20 a can now, and of course, Workshop's Citadel stuff is ridiculous, like close to 25 or 30. So the plastic primer is pretty nice, but I don't like the paint and primer all too much. That's fine, Miar. You don't have to like it. It's just one of those things that I've not had a problem with it personally. Hey, somebody else subbed here. So, learning to paint better to do a good rowboat Gilliman or Angron. Yeah, well, the only way to do something, the only way to get good is to do it. So let's see, 2,000 point game is an investment. Yes, it is. Hundreds of dollars just to try combat is $100 is much more reasonable. Absolutely, absolutely, Muttball. Sorry, I'm just trying to get caught up here. We got an ad coming up in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Of course, it's not going to bother anybody that is subscribed. So terrific. Might be the moist weather here, Miar says. Maybe, Miar. Maybe. So we're going to let that ad play through before I go on yammering here. Brewski, yes, this is a chapter. This is a custom chapter. Combat Patrol is quick sandbox style game. 6 missions, very simple, and just with what comes in the CP boxes. Each box has a special list and stratagems, etc. I like the format, but some boxes are more balanced than others. Yeah, Hatchet Publications has a deal right now, and I calculated it up. For about 50% of the price, you can get it's like 9 Combat Patrols for $1,300, and they just send them out part by part to you. So it's like $70 a month, $65-$70 a month. It's not bad, really. But so anyhow, I'm just waiting until the ad break over here on Twitch lets up. So let's see. All right, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ad break has ended. Hello and welcome back over here on Twitch. The ad break has ended. You survived. You survived the ad break. Give yourself a round of applause if you're still here. Speaking of ads, if you are of the mind, if you like energy drinks, you might check out my sponsor, Dubby, at WGG and use my code for 10% off your order. My code is Rocket Fuel, ROKKIT FUEL. Helps the channel out, your purchase does, as well as gives you a nice, cool, refreshing drink for about 60% of the same, a lot cheaper than like Red Bull or any of the other ones. Plus, it doesn't have a bad crash when you. It's an energy drink that I don't have it doesn't crash me out, right? So like Red Bull or something like that, I have a problem with crashing out afterwards. But Dubby is a nice, smooth letdown. So that's Dubby.gg. My code is Rocket Fuel, ROKKITFUEL, just in case it's something you want to try. Sugar-free, caffeine fruit, and dozens of great flavors. And it's about $1. It's about $1 a serving. So it's a lot cheaper than the cans that you get at the convenience store. So might be in the moist weather there. It could be Muir, could be. But yeah, so Hatchet Part Works. If you look up Hatchet Publications on Google, they actually have a deal where they sell not you. It's a subscription, and over I think 90 weeks, you get 9 combat patrols, and it works out to about half price. So try getting 9 combat patrols for $1,300 any other way. But a subscription, and it comes to your house every week for about $15 an issue. So I thought about doing it, but I'm trying to save money, and I also have so much backlog anyway. That I figured I probably don't need it. Though there were a couple of things I did like. I did like the Chaos Marines Combat Patrol. And the Orc Combat Patrol was pretty cool. Even though I've got everything that's in it, it's got the Defcoptas, which I was like, man, I sure like the new Defcoptas, but I'm not really willing to shell out what they're wanting them for. But the Defcopta would come, a Defcopta model you get for $15, along with the rules to play it. Hard to pass that up. But I did. It was hard, but I did. So. Alright, I think I got this guy the other night, actually. But I use the burnt sienna as a nice base for the orange, because I like to go from the dark color. I like to build my colors from the dark up to the light. So dark to mid-tone to the brightest ones. So anyhow. Alright, so there's that one. That dude is done. That dude is done. Is this dude done? I don't think this dude is done yet. So let's see. Okay, so that was my advertisement. That was my shout out for the sponsorship there. Nobody's ever taken up on it, which is fine. But it's there. If you want to help the channel outside of the purview of Twitch and YouTube, that's a good way to do it. And we all win. So I'm just wicking away right here where I got some paint in those little vents there. So what I did is I did a base coat, and then after the base coat, I went through and I used Agrex Earthshade. And now I'm going back over and brightening things back up. So, because sometimes Agrex Earthshade, anytime you do a wash, it's going to take your colors down a lot. It's going to dingy them up. So I'm just trying to bring things back to a level of brightness. So this almost reminds me of a color called pumpkin orange that I have in the craft paints back here underneath my desk. Believe it or not, I used to use craft paints to paint all my stuff. My Bretonians are mostly craft paints. That was from way back in the day before I had really good access to the hobby paints. Of course, I started out painting with enamel paints, testers and enamel paints. But I was also from a scale modeling background. So a lot of my early works, while you can tell that I still didn't have a clue as to what I was doing, still really aren't too bad. They don't necessarily, I wouldn't say that they hold up, but they are not as bad as they could have been. We've all seen the globbed up stuff that people have posted. I never had that problem. But that leads me to my next thing. Is I'm in a lot of Discords and I'm in a lot of Facebook hobby groups. And I always see people posting up their work. Guys, this is my first Space Marine. This is my first miniature I've ever painted. I'm not a professional or anything, but I'm really proud of it. And I'm like, well, you should be proud of it. But nobody expects you to be a professional. Nobody expects you to put out perfect work when you're first starting out. Don't compare yourself. The only reason you should compare yourself to anybody else is to learn what they're doing, but don't compare yourself and don't think that you can't do what somebody else is doing. Let's see. Brewski says, I've been a G Fuel guy. Have you had that? How's it compare? If so, I have not tried G Fuel, Brewski. Brewski also started with testers. His first models were the USS Voyager and Estes rockets. Yeah, I did. I've got, there's a hillside down in Kentucky that ate several of my model rockets. They went up, worked perfectly. The chute deployed, and the wind caught them and just took it away. So if you go down to the city park in the town where I'm from and walk straight back into the valley, I'm sure you'd find the remains of several of my model rocketry products. Pro, projects. Yep. Let's see. One of my big ones that I enjoyed was the I built the Enterprise, but I never did get to paint the Enterprise. I wanted to use spray paint. I wanted to use matte white because the directions said to use spray paint, matte or matte and flat white, and I didn't know what the difference was. Turns out there's not really a whole lot of difference. Um, but I was really too young to go buy and spray paint at the time. But I built it and I built it right. Never had any problems with it. My brother built the my younger brother built the Klingon D7, the Klingon ship, the big one, and for being for being 6 years younger than me, he did really good on it. And he even actually they had the paint call out codes, and he actually painted in the lines. Of course, it was all relief detail anyway on that one, but he painted those and he did a really nice job. And he was 6 years younger than me. So let's see. I need to do the refit Enterprise as a legacy project. No way in heck am I Aztecing that thing. Yeah, I wouldn't Aztec it either. I think the best I would do is I would probably just mask off and mix different whites like gray white, light gray, off gray, dove gray, and I'd probably just do it off in squares and just use blue painter's tape. I don't think I'd Aztec. I don't think I would try to do the Aztec um, decals on it, Brewski. They make decals, but decals over such a large surface area give me the willies, and I'm pretty decent at doing decals. If I do say so myself. Pop my collar. um, I'm not bad at laying down decals, but when it comes to large surfaces like that, that's a lot to do, especially at one time. I've seen the size of those Aztec decals, and they are daunting. I've got a World War II plane. No, sorry, World War One plane that is a German plane, and it's painted with. It's supposed to be that lozenge pattern camouflage that they would do, and it's got like blue and pink and green and tan, and they just really. I mean, they went crazy with their colors. The German pilots did, but it gives this long, like this, it covers the whole top wing, this decal does. And I'm like, you want me to put that decal on that wing? That is a big ask right there. I don't think I can do little decals pretty easily, but that is just beyond it's beyond my comfort level. But if you want to get good at anything, you should go beyond your comfort level, right? What's it that what's it the dog said on Adventure Time? Sucking is the first step to getting good at something. So being bad is the first step to being good at something. But yeah. But that's the thing is, folks, don't apologize for starting out. Don't apologize for your level of work. Share it with people. Tell them how much you're enjoying it. They're going to enjoy hearing your experience and what you find and how you do things. And your approach is going to be your approach, and you don't know, but your approach might be just the thing to help somebody else with a way to do something easier for them. But yeah, I see a lot of people, they'll post up something and say, I'm sorry for, they are apologetic for posting. And they say, I'm sorry, I'm not a professional, but I posted this. I'm like, nobody's asking you to be a professional in this group. This is not a group for professionals. There's all sorts of levels. All sorts of levels. And they're all valid. Everybody is a different place in their hobby adventure. So if you're just starting out or you're an old hand at it, enjoy it. It's yours. Make of it what you want to make of it. Don't feel like anybody is expecting some standard. There's no standard. It's not like electrical work, We have a code book we have to follow. We have standards, practices. It's not like being a lawyer. It has to follow the law, interpret the law, and it has ways of filing papers. I mean, there's a whole thing called like when I studied, we studied federal what's called federal regs, federal regulations, and states have regulations too, as to I mean, it's all basically how you file things and how you submit your paperwork. So there's a lot there's a lot of jobs that have standards that are outside of the job itself for good reasons. I mean, people's lives are at stake, freedom, freedom and lives. But your paint and your hobby is just you. How you approach it is going to be the way that you enjoy the most. If you like to just do a spray of a base color, throw a wash on there, put your decals on, maybe do a little dry brush of silver on the weapons, and off you go, and that's what you want out of it, then good for you. If you like to super detail things and you want to highlight and blend every little surface, every little detail, then good for you. We don't look down on people that don't do those things or do those things, however you want to take a look at it, because everybody is at a different place in their adventure, and everybody is getting something out of it that benefits themselves. I don't paint like Sam Lenz, and Sam Lenz don't paint like me. I paint like myself, you know? It's like Harrison Ford said one time. Somebody said, "You see that guy up on the screen?" And he was talking about somebody with that became famous later on, but they were just in a bit part. They said, "You see that? That's Tony Curtis. You can tell that's Tony Curtis too." And Harrison Ford looks at the guy and says, "Really? I thought he was supposed to be a waiter." So it's like, what I'm saying is, don't try to be somebody else or paint like, learn what you can from other people's painting styles and what they bring. Learn what you can, make it your own, make it your own style, because I see a lot of people learning how to paint and learning these methods, but they're learning the methods that somebody else is using, so their work winds up looking like that person's, like their teacher's work, right? And it loses that personal style that they have. So I don't want to be the next Vince Venturella. I don't want to be the next Sam Lenz. I don't want to be the next Eric Swinson. I want to be the first JP Gotrokkits. You know? Of course, I don't win competitions. I don't worry about competitions. It's not my scene. I don't paint in that style. Good for you if you do. And if that's what you enjoy, if you paint to that level, that competition level, terrific. I want to see more of it. But I don't need to be the next somebody else. I need to be the first me. So be the first you. Don't try to be the next somebody else. Because that way has already been trod. They've already stepped that way. That path has already been cleared. You know, George Lucas, right? Was he going to be the next Frank Capra? No. George Lucas was going to be the first George Lucas. Right? Look what George Lucas did, right? Instead of trying to be the next Frank Capra or John Huston or anyone like that. Let's see, Savage Brewski was saying, Tony Curtis, I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus. There's my Tony Curtis. I am Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. So if you're watching on YouTube and Rumble, if you don't care to, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, either place, feel free to hit that subscribble button. Feel free to share if you will, but it's hard to share long form content, I know. But at the same time, if you would, please remember to just hit that thumb, give it a thumbs up. It helps the channel grow. Helps me flip coins. Give the old brush a little washy wash. Don't let it get gummed up too much. Oh, my phone is starting to die out on me. It's down to 5%. I need to get a charger cable going on it. So right here, see how this is all roughed up? Because I wasn't being patient. That's okay. What I'm doing is I'm adding a little bit of paint to it against so what I did there is that paint had a grain in it that was going this way, right? Because I had forgotten, I'd just been doing things I shouldn't have done to it. So that paint was dried, but it dried with some streaks in it, right? Like that. So what I just did now is I took another layer of paint and I went, now this is already dried, but I just went ahead and filled it in this way, perpendicular to those strokes, to basically build up in between those build up in those valleys and kind of hide and smooth that out. So it's not the greatest way to fix that, but it definitely works. And then of course this orange is a little on the thin side. I'm still seeing a little bit of the darkness come through because of the Agrax Earthshade. It could just be even activating just a little bit underneath this. So thin coats, as I always tell people at my paint intakes, multiple 2 or 3 thin coats is always going to do you better than one thick heavy coat. It's going to dry faster. You're going to be happier with the results. So right here, it's very much not orange. It's kind of dingy a little bit. So go ahead and do this. But I got to be careful because I might tear it. Alright, so give me a minute here. I'm going to flood that out a little bit. And mop it away. Cleans it right up. Brings that shading back. So I'm going to step away for just a moment and grab a charger for my phone. So give me just a moment. In fact, it's almost 9 o'clock. Let's go ahead and take a bio break, everybody, and stretch for a moment and get a drink of water or tea or whatever your thing is. And I'm going to grab that charger, and I think it's time for a good bio break. Back in 3, 5, maybe. All right, and we are back. All right, so that should keep the live chat over on the YouTube side of things going for a little while longer. Phone was about to die out on me, so yeah, this guy's got slightly rougher armor texture, but evidently that's in vogue nowadays. So you know, maybe it's a thing. Maybe I'm right up with the painting trends. I've never really been one to follow the trends. mostly because I've been doing this for a while and I have my own way of doing things. But the painting trends are more people that are discovering things from the art world or things from the scale modeling world, and they're applying those lessons. A lot of kids that are into painting miniatures, they've grown up and they've gone to college and they go to art school, and so they're like, hey, I know this new way of painting, and let me show it to you. And so they apply the high art styles and lessons, and they win their prizes, or they get tapped for lots of commission work, or they start painting and putting their work on box covers. So there's a lot of things you can learn from other people's ways of painting. But when you learn something, make it your own. See how you can develop it into your own style. Don't just copy what someone else is doing just because they're famous or well known. I guess famous would be well known, but just because they are winning awards, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do things the way they do things. So, learn from people, add it to your way of doing things, develop your own style. That's probably the biggest mistake people make, is trying to paint like somebody else instead of trying to paint like themselves. Like Harrison Ford said, Tony Curtis, I thought he was supposed to be a waiter. I thought he probably sounded more like, I thought he was supposed to be a waiter, something like that. So, which I think was a valid comeback to that sort of criticism that he was receiving. Like, if you're an actor, the idea is that you're supposed to be somebody else. You're not supposed to be recognizable as yourself. You're supposed to be somebody else in that role, right? So if somebody can figure out that you're Tony Curtis in that role, I mean, it was before Tony Curtis got famous, which he was in that role. But that was, they said that was what somebody telling Harrison Ford. You see that you can tell he's gonna be famous. You can tell that's Tony Curtis right there. Well, like Harrison said, I thought he was supposed to be a waiter. So, oh man, I pooped like no proper has pooped before. Well, Miar, thank you for sharing. Um, this is what men talk about, folks. In case you were wondering, uh, if you ever, if you're okay for the ladies, that might be watching, if you are ever around your dude when he gets a call from one of his friends and it sounds like his friend is doing like a vibe check, he might say, "Oh, yeah, 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 she's here." So his friend is gauging whether or not he should tell your dude about a BM that he just had. Because, guys, we do that. It's true. We will say, "Oh man, you will not believe what just happened. I had the most mind numbingly great BM ever." It's true, it happens. I mean, now this is a family show, so we won't get too crazy about it. But this is PG 13 part, I guess, for scatological humor. Um, but yeah, if your dude gets a phone call from his buddies and he looks uncomfortable with you being around because his buddy's trying to tell him like about some scatological factoid. I mean, a good poop is worth sharing. Yeah, Miar. I mean, you're not off the truth there, buddy. You are not off the truth. But but yeah, if your dude is acting weird when somebody calls him, it ain't because he's talking to another lady. It's because he wants to talk about poop. It's true. And he knows that if you're there next to him while he's talking about poop, you're gonna roll your eyes and make all sorts of horrible, exasperative sounds. I'm just telling you the facts there, ladies. This is how things are. This is men. Men, 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 manly men, men. YouTube algorithm. Looking for copyright infringement. Men. We gotta talk about poop lady. Get out of here. Miar. Miar. That's Miar always cuts right to the chase. He gets right down to the bones of the matter. That's Miar for you. Right here on the channel, over here on Twitch. If you want to come and hang out with Miar here on Twitch, you're more than welcome to. I wish you were. Oh, yeah. Well, Miar, I wish you were going to Adepticon too, man. I wish you were coming this year. I was kind of hoping to see you in the misses. But it was good to see you. What was that, last year? It was really good seeing you guys, meeting you in person. There's so much to do and so much to see and so many people to see, you know? Get to see Black Skull and Ed and I think Blades 81 is going. I mean the whole crew. I mean, I'll tell you what. Be great to see everybody again this year. Looking forward to it. Yeah, had to sacrifice and use the money that you would spend. Yeah, yeah. That's well. I mean, that's part of being an adult. That's life, you know. I mean, there are responsibilities that we have to take care of, unfortunately. And if we have to use money that we set aside, if we have to use money, if we have to use fun money to do something serious, then we have to do. That's what we have to do, you know. Use fun money to do something serious. Because the fun thing will hopefully happen again, but the serious things have to be taken care of. You can't put them off. You can put off Adepticon for a year. You know, you can put off Gen Con for a year. You can put off certain things like that, but important things, responsibilities, and emergencies and the like, you know, you can't put those off. But we'll see you next year, I'm sure, if there is a next year. Nuclear annihilation, notwithstanding. Paint his little fingers. Paint his little fingers. Little fingers. Little fingers. Little fingers. Paint the little fingers. Little man with little fingers. But in scale, I'm 7.5 feet tall. Actually, probably 8 feet tall now. I don't know how tall are Primaris. They're taller than firstborns, and firstborns are what 7 feet tall. So I don't know. I think they should have just said these are true. We're doing our Marines in true scale now, and everything else is going to be based around them. So, but that's one man's opinion. That is just one man's opinion. Because when they first started making the Space Marines, Guardsmen were actually 25. Well, I think they were a little bit bigger. They were chunkier than the 25s that you would get from like Grenadier or Ralpartha. So they seemed a little bit bigger, but they were chunkier. They were same height though. And looking at like Guardsmen now from them, they're they're tiny. They're tiny. So itty bitty, teeny weeny. But yeah, Guardsmen from way back in the day were pretty small. And then, you know, Space Marines were kind of small. They've gotten bigger. Second edition plastics were kind of small and squat. The rhinos were pretty small. Actually, the rhinos, the old rhinos, the very old rhinos, looked really. They actually look really good against the alongside the old 25 millimeter West End Games Star Wars guys. They really look good. They're like, wow. I'm like, wow, that would look great in a 25 millimeter game because they're big enough to where they could actually fit 25 millimeter scale dudes in there. They actually look a little more science fictiony in my opinion. I mean, they're kind of aged style. Their style is kind of aged a little bit. Um, they didn't look quite so much like an M113. So they were a little bit more. I don't know if I want to use the word streamlined. They were more. There was less detail on them to an extent, but they were. I don't know how to explain it, but there were. You could buy them three for a pack for $20, 25 bucks. But I was never in a place where I could get them at that time for them, and I wasn't really into 40K at the time. I was actually more into fantasy at the time because I enjoyed Tolkien, and I was just a absolute nut for fantasy, reading fantasy. Ursula K. Le Guin, the Earthsea series. I found Howard, Robert E. Howard. Found that, started reading some of that stuff. And then historical fiction was kind of cool. I read Shogun, which always irritated me that they always talked about far off Cathay and Nippon, but they never had any figures. Well, I won't say they never did. They were very difficult to find. My friend Jacob of Ralpartha Legacy has got a bunch of Citadel, like Asian type figures from back in the day, and he's got a Cathayan army. Cathay or Nippon, I'm not sure which, but it's an eastern region, whichever you want to call it. But I think he's actually got them integrated with his old Imperial army. I can't remember, but anyway, there's foo dogs and all sorts of cool things in that army. But they never pushed that army. Same with Bretonnians. I remember I always wanted a Bretonnian army as opposed to an Imperial army, just because of knights and just the whole Arthurian aspect of it. But you could never find them. You could always find Imperial guys. You can find high elves. In fact, some of my first Citadel figures were high elves and orcs. ORCS orcs, not ORK orcs. Really want the Thunder Mountain elves? Yeah, Miar. Those are nice. They really are great. They really are great. I'll be doing some more Arthurians here in a little while too. I just wanted to take a break and do something for myself because I've been doing so many things for other people. As you know, I wanted to do something for myself. So this is my project. This is a little bit of a long-term project. I only have like 20 of these Primaris dudes. So, like 20. It's not exactly 20. It may be a little bit more than 20, but See if I can get a little edge highlighting on there. Oh, a little too much. A little too much. See if we can mop some of that away. So it is 9:30 almost. I did start a little later than I intended tonight, just because I got home late and had to eat supper. So hopefully everybody will forgive me for that. But we are going till 11 o'clock at least. And don't forget that tomorrow night, or early Sunday, either tomorrow night or early Sunday morning, depending on which you prefer, um, daylight saving starts again. So we spring forward and we lose an hour. We lose an hour of sleep this weekend. Sorry. Unless you live in someplace smart like Arizona, that doesn't do it. There's another state that doesn't do it. I don't remember. Arizona? Is it Tennessee maybe? I don't remember. But I know Arizona doesn't do the time shift with everybody else. So I always liked Arizona. I always thought it was a real pretty place. I would like to have lived there maybe. Depending on the part. I mean, way down in the desert maybe not, but I can never remember that it happens, says Miar. Yeah. Well, the thing is though, is everything is automatic now too, so your computer updates and changes the time on its own, and your phone updates, changes its time. So really, unless you've got like analog clocks in the house that really need to be adjusted, um, really don't have to necessarily be active about changing them. It kind of all happens for you anyway nowadays. So we were told back in school, a teacher was telling us about it, and she said, always remember, spring forward and fall back. It made sense to me. I mean, it's an interesting way to remember that, right? So, spring forward and fall back. So, but I don't like it. I don't like it. It's just monkeying around with. It messes with a. It kind of messes with you. Like even people, even physically, there are actually more heart attacks recorded around springing forward than any other time of the year, any one date of the year. They say that it really that shortening up by an hour has some deleterious effects on people. Yeah, so orange is a pretty cool color. Well, okay, it's a warm color. And but it's a cool color to work with. But the burnt sienna, I probably could have used it more of a base and used the orange colors to highlight it with. But we'll see how that turns out. Maybe I'll do that on the next squad. You know, there's nothing that says each squad has to be painted exactly the same way. So mild stylistic changes or choices is really nothing bad. So don't be afraid to try different things between squads. If you're painting an army, that is actually one of the problems with painting armies is that people can get really bored with it. Painting the same colors the same way over and over again, highlighting the same colors the same way over and over again. Um, so there's different ways, different things you can do to mitigate boredom with a project, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't finish painting their armies, is they get bored. So don't be afraid to try changing up a few things here and there when you're painting an army. As long as you have the same basic ideas across the army, most players, most of your opponents will never notice. And you won't get burnt out. You'll have fun painting it. Do fun little things, sneak some Easter eggs in there, as they say. Not real Easter eggs, that could be really messy and it'd probably funk up your army case if you actually put real Easter eggs in there. Kind of gross, you know. So all right. So his helmet needs another coat, but I'm going to let that dry up. So I think there's some roughness on these guys because of two things: the spray paint and me just being stupid and trying to paint too fast on these guys. But I don't mind the slight rough texture. It's evidently going to be the next big thing. So, and I could even hide things. I could make it look intentional by putting some weathering on there. I got to be really careful because this paint right here is, if I reactivate it, it's going to want to tear, and we're just going to have some real problems with rippling and orange peel, orange skin looking things. So we don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. Just got to be careful. But a slight rough texture is not really a terrible thing. All right, I'm going to set this guy aside. And if I have to touch him up later a little bit more, I will. But he's pretty well done. Pretty well done. There might be a few things I might want to strengthen up the color value a little bit more with, but we shall see that. We shall see. So there's 3 out of a 5-man squad. Let's see, what is this dude here? Oh yeah, okay, his face. So that's 3 guys. Here's 4 guys. Now this one is actually what I did with this guy. He's very orange. What I did is I had used Nova orange on him originally, I think, or maybe it was the original orange. And then instead of using Agrax Earthshade, I used Cassandora Yellow. So I used this. Oops, I bumped my camera here. I bumped the camera. Did you bump the camera? I bumped the camera. So I used Cassandora Yellow, which gives it's very much of an orange shade. So this is good for actually shading yellows with, because it gives an orange color to it. But it really brightened him up. It made him almost neon orange. So I knocked it back down with Agrax Earthshade. And you can still see some of that bright orange in some of the crevices and low places there. But overall, it's actually kind of a neat. It's a little bit more vibrant, a little more red. So he's got a little bit more red in his orange. But it is what it is. So I want to bring everything back to that standard, the Nova orange. So that is the plan. That is the plan. So, all right, I'm going to take an eye break for a minute. They say after working for a couple hours up close, you should focus on something in the middle distance. So we're going to focus on something in the middle distance. We're going to take a little bit of a paint break. I know, I'm taking a lot of breaks tonight, aren't I? Well, it's Friday. It's Friday. Now you've got it in your mind. Now you've got that song stuck in your head. It's Friday. Got to get down on Friday. So, but it's a good time to take a break and talk about color. So color, I picked this up last year or year before last at the Eldritch Foundry booth at Gen Con. It was free, so I thought that was pretty cool. I figured it's a nice thing to have right on the desk, and it can help me make my choices. So orange, right? We're working with orange, and we're going with teal. Now orange looks great against blue, which if you root for the New York Knicks or the Islanders or the Broncos, I think you definitely know that orange against blue looks really sharp. But we're going a little bit off here, so we're going to use this secondary, this tertiary, because we're using teal on the chest aquila. But so we're going to go there and maybe just over to a blue to do their eyes. But it's not like a true triadic, so it's not purple, green, orange. It's a little closer together. So we'll see how it works out. What do we got here? And we're going to... We've got a bot over here on Twitch. And we're going to ban the bots. Ban the bot. We're going to report the bot. At 2:05. At 2:05:34. Submit report. And block the user. Block the bots. Block the bots. Ban the bots, block the bots. Report the bots. Yes. So, anyhow, the thing about color theory is if you don't find it, it will find you. I really didn't. I've never had one of these before this last year. I've never paid much attention to it. I just look at colors and I'm like, oh, yep, that looks good together, without really putting a lot of thought into it. So now this allows me, having a little bit more of an understanding, allows me to make better choices for my colors, or at least it gives me an understanding of why certain colors look good. So instead of just kind of guessing, which I could guess, and I've guessed pretty good mostly, but having this as a reference sheet at least helps me make more informed choices. Not much more informed choices, but it is an informed choice, because I'm just so great, right? Yeah. Okay, I see where that could have gone. Let's not. I'm just like anybody else. I ain't that great, folks. I'm just a man trying to make his way in the universe. I'm just a man trying to make his way in the universe. So anyhow, so yeah, if you can get a hold of any kind of color wheel, download one and print it out for yourself. Um, it will help you understand why you make the choices you make as far as the colors that you use. So it's always a good idea to have this on hand. This is kind of cool too. Dilution ratios. So water, base color, paint, 1:3, wash 3:1, recess shade 4:3, edge highlight 1:4, so glaze 2:1. So you'll have like edge highlight, you want more paint so that it sticks to that edge a lot better. That's what this is talking about. So how thin do you want your paint, right? So this is your paint weight ratio. This is your water ratio. If you want to do edge highlights, 4:1 ratio. That makes your paint. That means your paint is going to flow off your brush because you never want to not have a little bit of water in your paint. Or what I like to use Merlin's Magic Medium. That is the bum diggity, as they say. So you want your paint to be a little thicker in your mix so that it sticks to that edge. A wash, obviously you want your washes to flow into those crevices and recesses, and a recess shade 4:3. So 3 parts water, 4 parts water, 3 parts paint, right? So that just helps it flow in there. It's kind of 75 to 100. So, it's not a bad idea to find this. You might be able to download this from eldritchfoundry.com. I get no consideration from them for showing this to you by any means. But there you have it. This is where I got it. This is actually a glossy surface. But yeah, I got this at their booth. You might be able to download something like this off their website. But this is probably also all over, something similar to this. I don't think there's any copyright on that exactly, but this actually kind of looks like it might have been copied from Redgrass, but who knows? It's so generic. And then this is some of the work that they do. It's kind of like Hero Forge. But anyway, I don't get any kind of consideration from them for showing that. But all right. Butt bots. Yep, we butt the bots right out. Butt out, bots. All right, so we're just gonna go over this and see how red that orange became after hitting it. So I hit it with the Cassandora yellow, as I was showing a moment ago. So I used the Cassandora yellow, and then that was really too bright. So then I went and hit it with the Agrex Earthshade, and now it's kind of a reddish orange. But we want to go for that more sort of pale sort of orange of the Nova orange. So I'm going to go ahead and just touch this stuff up a little bit and get on it. Stop talking, JP, and start painting. That's what everybody's saying. Stop talking. Let's talk more paint. Let's talk more paint. You know the great thing about ProAcryl? That 10 out of 9 doctors recommend it as part of this nutritious diet. Tastes great, less filling. No, don't eat the paint. That's a joke. It is a joke that we make on the. A lot of people make that joke on the Monument Hobbies Facebook page. I am probably the chiefest person of making that joke. I'm sure that whoever runs the Monument Hobbies Facebook page is getting tired of me making the joke about eating paint. But as it is, it's a fun joke to make. Sometimes I lick my brush, but it is not actually a practice that I do a lot. If I'm really desperate for a really sharp tip, I will. But I'm not often that desperate for a sharp tip. I usually have a pretty good one because I clean my brushes. Now, sometimes the synthetics will tend to hook a little bit, but you can lean into that and use that to your advantage. Just because a synthetic hooks over a little bit doesn't mean that it's done, doesn't mean that its life is over. So don't worry. Lean into it. Use it. Now I'm sure there's a way to do some really nice blending, but I'm going for more of a tabletop feel. With these guys, I'm not really too concerned about getting a super high level competition style paint job on these guys. I just want to get them on the table. I want to enjoy painting them, and I want to get them on the table. That's the whole point of this exercise. Not every not every paint job is going to be a monthly monster. Some are going to be a little bit less. But I will tell you this, folks. Not every paint job is going to be a banger. Not every paint job is going to be epic. But that's okay because not every paint job has to be a banger. Not every paint job has to be epic. The most important thing that a paint job should do is make you happy doing it. Now, if you're not happy with the result at the end of the process, you can look at it and you can say, well, what did you learn? What did you learn about this paint this time? What did you learn about the process this time? What did you find that worked? And what did you find that didn't work? So that's always a good thing to keep in mind. And it's okay. Not every figure has to be painted to the highest standard known to mankind. Enjoy the process. Find the part of the process that you enjoy most and work to that area, work to that end. If you enjoy putting on decals, well, you're going to be pushing your paint to be smooth so it can handle the decals and doesn't wrinkle up underneath them. If you like lining, if you like to make sure all your panel lines are clean and sharp, then work to that as your end. If you like to weather your figures to within an inch of their life, then work towards that. Don't worry what somebody else might think about it. I'm not a big weathering kind of guy. I like a good, clean, sharp looking model. So I try to do good, clean, sharp looking details. But sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But enjoy the process. Find that part of the process that you enjoy and work towards that. If you enjoy the whole process, great. More power to you. That is excellent. I do enjoy the whole process myself. Now, as you can see, I'm not really doing much in the way of dry brushing. I did a little dry brushing on the chest emblems, sure, because how else would you? But I need to go back over those anyhow because they've picked up some color from the washes, and so they need to be redone. And I may even forgo turquoise. I may just go right to blue. I thought the turquoise looked pretty neat, but I'm also thinking that blue is such a direct opposite to the orange that I might lean that way instead. I don't know. So we got about an hour left. Hopefully this has been a decent week for everybody out there. It wasn't too bad of a week for me. Got a lot accomplished on this one job I've been working on. As you all know, it left me a little bit hurting last night. So I was not up for sitting here. So I didn't, because getting old, as my granddad said, getting old is for the birds. So hopefully tomorrow I can get caught up on some things. You know how that whenever you were a kid and you ordered something from like a giveaway or something or a mail in, it would say um, allow 4 to 6 weeks for delivery. Well, I got to get this stuff out that I owe everybody for the monthly monster and the giveaways from the streamiversary. And I mean, I know I sort of have a reputation for not getting that stuff out fast anyway, but I'm trying to change. I'm trying to do better. It's just once I need to get some boxes, and usually I get home after the post office is closed, so it's hard to really get all that stuff done. And then they're open. I know post office is open on Saturdays, but usually Saturdays I'm so done. You know, I'm usually so done. Usually so done that I am just lay in bed and doom scroll until about noon 30. Wake up about 10, doom scroll until about noon 30. Then I get up and get something to eat. And then I goof off and don't get anything done for the rest of the day until about 7 in the evening. Then I decide, I should probably get something done today. I'm not as industrious as a person as I should be when left to my own devices. I've found. Now, work is one thing, but when it comes to, somebody's expecting something of me, like work, then that's one thing. But on the home front, I'm just a mess. I'm awful. I don't do the things I should when I should. Thankfully, the only person that has to live with it is myself and the cat. The cat has to live with it, but the cat doesn't care. As long as he's got litter and food, he's all right. Litter, food, and water, and something to knock off. Tell you what, when the cat knocks things off in the middle of the night and things go thump and bump, knocks things out of your pocket dump pile onto the floor, you hear screws and fittings hit the floor, clang, bang, 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 clang, crunch. You wake up and you just yell at the cat, "Hey, Hey, what are you doing? Knock it off. And the cat knows he's in trouble, I'll tell you what. Pumpkin knows he's in trouble when you raise your voice. He goes, oh, 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 you got me, Dad. Oh, you got me. I was knocking things off. Yeah, I was misbehaving. He runs off. Knows he's in trouble. But how can you tell a cat that he's in trouble, you know? They don't care. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Like literally, cats are looking for things. They figure if they turn things over enough and knock things off enough, they'll find something to kill. And that's the thing. He's looking for something to kill. Because that's how cats are wired. Cats want to kill something. Now, some cats kill mountains. You've heard of that, right? Cats kill mountains. Dum-dum. They tend to be on auto. Yes. Yeah, they do tend to be on auto. I'll lean back for a minute, take some pressure off the old lower back, leaning forward. Even though I have my desk set up in a way I can pretty well keep my back straight and lean my elbows on it, um, or lean on my desk. Still sitting here is a little much. Now I actually found a really nice chair today, but it's more than I want to spend on a chair. It was the chair that I have here right now was fairly comfortable, at least for height wise, but it's not really too great as far as padding goes. But the chair that I saw, I was like I said, I had a service call to go to, so after the service call, it was right next to Beals. So I ducked into Beals because I'm a bachelor, I live alone. I'm not really a big home goods kind of guy, but there are things that I need, and I realize that there are a lot of things that are made that that can make life easier in some respects. So I go sometimes I will duck into a Beals if it's close by, and they're kind of like a overstock outfit. So if you ever been kind of like Ross, so Beal and Ross I think are kind of similar. Clothes for the family, overstock on housewares and house goods. So I do stop in from time to time because I find that there are things that I didn't know that I needed that sometimes it's like, oh, that would be handy in the kitchen or whatever, you know. Or if you need a new pillow, that's a good place to get them fairly cheap. So, anyhow, I saw a nice chair And I tried it. I sat down in it. I lowered it to to a height that would be lower than my desk so I could sit it comfortably. And it was a very comfortable chair, very padded, nicely padded. It had armrests on it, but the armrests were low enough to be out of the way, which is why I chose this chair. I bought this chair at Big Lots for I think $60, and anyhow, it's at the moment this chair is kind of uncomfortable, but that other chair that I tried today was very comfortable. But it was like for being at a closeout overstock place, it was far too expensive. It was like $85. It's like, are you kidding me? I said I like this chair, but I don't like it $85. So, but I definitely need to be more cognizant of stretching while I'm sitting, taking breaks like we did and have done this evening. That's always a good idea. Joanne Fabrics is going out of business. I'm there every payday. Yeah, Miar, uh, I have not like there was a Joanne's not too far from me, but there was also in that same area were two hobby shops and a Hobby Lobby. And Joanne's Fabric, well, I'll tell you, Joanne's Fabric kind of had. I have some childhood trauma from Joanne's Fabric, if you can believe it. Not this particular store, but my mom was big into sewing, so she would always drag, and she would go shopping, and she would drag my brother and me along, and she would spend hours in the fabric stores, kind of like us at hobby shops, you know. Although, quite honestly, if I'm going to a hobby shop just to get something that I already know exists, I don't really spend a lot of time there shopping. I already know what there is, and I already know what I want. If anything, I'll visit sometimes with the guys behind the till. You know, we'll chat for a little while. But she would go to these fabric stores, and here we were going right along with, and oh, it was so boring. We'd sit there for what felt like we were there for hours. You know, there was nothing. This was before the days of cell phones with games you could play or anything like that. And, you know, but she'd always go and she'd always take us along, but then afterwards be like, "Mom, can we go to the toy store now? Can we?" And we were so. I mean, it was kind of dumb because it's like here you got two little boys with you, and you're gonna spend all this time in the fabric shop, and you're not even gonna give them the dignity of taking them to the toy store for 20 minutes, half hour, and reward them for putting up with you. Oh, that was awful. So yeah, whenever I think of Joanne's Fabric, my eye kind of twitches there, Miar. But I have been in. In fact, I got a nice piece of velvet to use as a backdrop for taking miniature photos of my miniatures, not miniature photos, photos of my miniatures. So, but yeah, like so, Joanne's Fabric, as far as being a hobby stop for me, I have stopped in there from time to time, but it's never been a consistent. location for myself. I've bought a ton of resin. Wow. Well, I know they also have like little like little diorama pieces as well. So but they had some really interesting things. I think I got a bag of sand there that had the reason I bought that bag of sand was because it had nice grit to it. So I mixed it in with some other sand. I got some bags of sand from Big Lots as well, and they had some interesting size grits. So I took that, I took some play sand, and I made what I call JP's Magic Mix. And it's a basing sand that has kitty litter, sand, like three or four different grit sizes of sand, plus kitty litter. So you get a really nice blend, variety of shapes and sizes. And it's just for basic basing. It's not nothing really fancy. It's just for basic basing. Bought mosses yesterday and resin week before and some new lights. Very cool. Yeah, mosses are nice. I've got a whole drawer full of mosses. The reindeer moss. Well, I think I might have more than just a drawer full. But yeah, reindeer moss is great stuff. I love it. Ugh. Oh, take a little pressure off the old back here. Oh goodness. I wish I could get it to snap to crackle pop. Oh. Back. Just got to get my back. Got to rub the old lower lumbar region here. Give me just a moment, folks. Just got to get some uh, pressure off. Lean back. I was leaning forward, putting pressure on. Now I got to lean back. Go the other way. But we almost made it through here. We're almost there. It's 10:15, so we got about 45 minutes left in the broadcast tonight. Maybe more. Who knows? Hard to say. But yeah, very cool. All right, let's get a little bit more Nova Orange out on the palette here. Drop. Drippy drop. And a little bit of the Merlin's Magic Medium. Just to keep that a little wetter, a little longer. Orange is a very interesting color to paint. So this reddish, brighter orange down here in this valley underneath the collar here looks really good. Just leaving it right in there like that, even though it didn't get knocked down with that. It didn't get knocked down with the Agrax Earthshade. So that's pretty cool. All right, we did this arm, got to do this arm over here. Now, I think there should probably be some interesting colors on this cuff on this armor. You know, maybe some little lenses or readout displays. But I don't know. I really don't know what it's supposed to be. If it's supposed to be just access points for jacks or what exactly. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But yeah, that sounds like a pretty good haul there, Miar. Mosses and resin and some new lights. New lights are always good. Want to have good lights for painting with. Speaking of good lights, I have a Lucent light by Game Envy to give away once we hit 500 followers here on Twitch. We're at 341. So we just need 159 more followers here on Twitch to give away the Lucent Light by Game Envy. Yeah, I really wish I could too, Miar. Especially because at 400, I want to give away this copy of Warcrow. I've been trying to give it away. You know, it was the channel seemed like it was building pretty well there for a little while. And then all of a sudden it just kind of crapped out. And I was hoping to get, because I was at a point where I only needed 100 more people to follow. Well, 70. I needed 70 more because I was at 330. So I needed 70 more people to be able to give away that copy of Warcrow, and Warcrow had just come out. That's the thing, it had just come out. So I figured people would be interested in the new hotness. So it'd be a nice incentive, you know. But we don't have that, evidently. And as you know, the JP Gotrokkits giveaway is unlike any other giveaway ever. It's always the coolest giveaways. Oh, sure, Ed's got his giveaways, and Duff's got his, but JP Gotrokkits has got his giveaways, and those are the ones you need to get into. Got to get that camera up and running again. Yeah. Well, I need a new I need a new computer. I really need a new computer. But I haven't really had time to sit down and work up a list or build one. I mean, I can get one easily enough, but again, computers cost money, and I'm really trying to save up for a new car right now. Not a new car, but a used car, a decent used car. Because I don't know if I told you this story or not, folks, but back in October, November, the front wheel of my car fell off as I was coming off the highway. So that was fun. Fortunately, I was only going about 2 miles an hour when it happened. If it had happened a minute before, or if I had changed my mind and kept on going instead of turning off, or gone out earlier in the day, because I thought about leaving earlier in the day and going to the hobby shop before going to this appointment, but I decided against it. I figured I'd just wait and go after I went to the appointment. So I didn't even make it to that appointment, which is okay, quite honestly. All said and done. But yeah, I'd like to be able to set up where I could have like three cameras, one on the, a face cam, the close cam, and a camera for like a turntable where I could put whatever. So, but yeah, you're right, Miar. I definitely need to get that other camera up and running again. I don't know why this one isn't working. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's almost like it's physically detached, like somehow it's come unconnected inside. But I never fold up the laptop. I just leave it open. So I couldn't have broken any cabling or anything. I can't imagine those connections getting so hot to to just fail naturally and become loose. I mean, they're it's plugged in. But I definitely need a new computer for sure. What I'd really like to do is I'd like to get an ATEM unit, which basically does everything that OBS does, except it's outside, separate from my computer, so I'm not dragging down, using up a lot of computer memory to do everything. So you can get a cleaner, sharper um, broadcast. That's really the way to go. That's the secret sauce right there. The only thing I'm wondering though is there's a few things that the ATEM unit couldn't do. Like there's certain plugins that obviously wouldn't work with it, and certain things that are just quality of life items on the channel, which I don't use. Like, I don't have any overlays, right? I don't have any of that stuff. I've tried to figure those out, but my tiny brain is not a is not technologically astute enough to learn how to do overlays. So I tried. I followed the directions I thought, but that was it did not work out. Same thing with this combining chat in OBS with the social stream Ninja plugin. Well, it's a great idea if you can get it to work, but I thought I did everything that's supposed to be done, and it's not working. So it's just sitting there, just doing nothing. I need to play around with it, but again, my computer time is basically the only time I'm really on my computer per se is when I'm sitting here doing hobby with everybody on my two hobby nights. So ask Ed or somebody. Yeah, maybe he probably know how to do it. That's his. That's his wheelhouse. He's an IT guy. I have IT guys too, but sometimes my IT guys tell me, they want like all this weird deluxe stuff that I don't have time or money or anything for. I'm like, no, this is what I want. Just help me get what I want. Don't tell me that I don't have, well, you should do this and you should do that. Don't tell me what I should do. Tell me what I want. Help me get what I want. And that's actually been a big issue in my life. A lot of times people tell me what they think I should do. You should do this and you should do that. Which is why I try to avoid telling people what they should do. I'd rather ask people, what do you want? And then try to help them get there. That's really the better way to do things. If you want to be helpful, find out what a person wants to do or what they need instead of telling them what they should have. You should do this and you should do that. I didn't ask what I should do. I'm telling you what I want to do, and I need your help to get there. So that's been my experience. But listening to people tell me what I should do has cost me over the years time and effort and money. I would never have tried college just to know that I knew I wasn't going to like it, but I tried it anyway because somebody said I should do it. And of course, if you're not doing something that you want to do, you know how that goes, right? But I learned that I didn't want to do it, which is what I knew from the get-go. It wasn't so much that I didn't want to do it, it's just it takes too long to learn the things you want to learn. They load you up with all sorts of other junk. Oh, you got to take this class and this class and this class and this class and this, and it has nothing to do with what you're trying to learn. It's like, when I tell the guidance counselor, I said, look, I had all these classes when I was in high school. In fact, these 3 classes I aced in high school. Why are you making me take them over again? These are high school level classes that you're trying to make college kids go to. I said, you're just rehashing the last 4 years of their life. And I did this. I did this 8 years ago. Here's my transcript. But they don't like it. They say, well, you're paying for this, and this is our curriculum and this is what we think you need to have and blah 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 blah. Where else can you go and pay for it? So if I had a car and I wanted customized for myself, I wanted blue flames painted on it, and I wanted you know I wanted lights underneath it, and I wanted a stereo system with certain specifications. And if I paid for it, I would get what I wanted. I would get what I was paying for. But with college, you can't get what you pay for. You can't say, I want this. This is the class I want to take. I know there are prerequisites so that I understand this class and this class. But I don't need this class because it has nothing to do with what I'm going to be doing after I learn these skills. So yeah, that was frustrating. Frustrating. But yeah, I think Ed would probably. But yeah, Miar, I think Ed would probably. Hey, guy friendly, how's it going? Just saw your message there. I just looked up. Just saw it. How you doing tonight, guy friendly? Got about another half hour left in the program here. So anyhow, that was a rant. But yeah, if you want to help somebody, ask them what they want to do and try to help them get there. But don't tell them what you think they should do. Well, you know what you should do. Yeah, never let those words escape your mouth when you're trying to help somebody. And never try to help somebody unsolicited. Just don't. That's wisdom for you right there. Hello there, General Kenobi. General Kenobi. So how is Guy Friendly doing tonight? Good to have you here. Thanks for stopping into the Pocket Dimension, where we paint all the things. This time we are painting Space Marines, and we're painting them orange because nobody paints orange Space Marines. Actually, I did see somebody post up a picture of orange Space Marines the other day, but they're not my orange Space Marines. All right, think I think we got all those surfaces pretty well covered. I think I think a little rough yet. The paint job is a little rough, but that's because I'm being rough with it. I'm not taking the time really that I should to do a super duper job, but it's good enough job. Good enough is good enough for what we're doing. We're going for a tabletop look, tabletop quality. So I'm going to take just a moment and I'll lean back and let my back decompress a little bit. Oh. Uh, Lumbar support in a chair is great, except when you're leaning forward, it doesn't do much good. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? All right. Stretch the old lower back. Winding down. Having a good Picasso night. Pretty much there, guy friendly. Pretty good. Pretty good. just trying to bring up these orange colors here, cleaning off some of this wash here. So the wash flows into the low places and collects there, but sometimes it tends to darken up or make kind of grungy some of the other places where it sits there, and it does what's called coffee staining. So I'm just going back and I'm leaving the valleys, the low places, the crevices, the nooks and crannies, if you will, um, alone, and just trying to retouch the high points. And then after I do bring these values back up to this orange color, I want to go back and highlight things. So having a pretty good night. Better than last night. I was going to stream last night, but my back was killing me. Been working in a ditch for 2 days. By myself in mud on the side of a hill. So not only am I trying to dig, I'm also trying to balance. And it's a variable depth. Like, when I say variable depth, you try to get down 2.5, 3 feet to bury this pipe. Well, the problem is it goes from the side of a hill down through underneath a little drainage ditch, and then up a hill. So you're dealing with a lot of weird geometry for digging at that point. And so while you're digging in the lowest spot is going to be even lower when you dig on the other side to where it's going uphill. So it wasn't fun. Well, I don't mind digging, so it was sort of fun, but then the other problem yesterday was getting the pipe in the ditch. Well, I thought that I could just wrestle it in, but the geometries were not working for me. So I had to go and get a flamethrower and a bottle of propane, or LP gas, really, and which I guess is propane. I had to heat it up with the big torch, which I didn't have a problem with, but I really didn't want to do that, and I hadn't expected on having to do it. I thought I could just get it to go down one side, across the low spot, and up the other side. And the problem is, I know they make 22.5-degree fittings, but the supply house doesn't carry them. They used to. I know, because we used to get 22.5s all the time. So they gave me 245s. Well, that's fine, but you can't really cut a 45 down to a 22.5 because the conduit warps when it gets manufactured, so you can't put a fitting on it to make it connect. So I had to go and buy a tool to get the job done, and that took time from being on the job. Well, I mean, it's still billable time because it's for the job. I wasn't running off to twiddle my thumbs or play Candyland or something, you know. Just had to go and get what I needed to do the job. I mean, that's all there was to it. So I felt like a bit of a failure yesterday. But I got it done. I got it in the ground. I got the ditch covered back over to a point where I can put the warning tape in and the fiber optic line a foot away. So we'll drop that in on Monday. And then pull the cable and mount the panel, then pull the cable. I don't know. Right now I'm working all myself, so there are some things that are a little bit difficult. We'll see. Maybe it'll all work out. Maybe I'll get it. I might have to call in some help. But that was my last couple of days. But I was hurting really bad last night. Really bad. Was not feeling, my back was not feeling up to it. I just could not bear the thought of sitting for 4 hours and painting with my back the way it was feeling. So, because that's part of getting old. Like my granddad said, getting old is for the birds. It really is. You know what I wonder would look really cool? Maybe if I did quartered armor. So what if I did blue and orange armor and I did it quartered? That might be pretty cool. On the other hand, maybe I'll do that on another unit. I'm not going to do it on this unit. This is going to be pretty straightforward, I think. But yeah, maybe on another unit. Who knows? I really don't want to get too deep into the Primaris Space Marines. I don't want to spend money building another army. I've got enough 40k stuff to choke the proverbial horse, or even a real horse, not just a proverbial one. So I'm not really interested in investing in the game over again with new figures that do the same thing that the old figures did. So, but that'd be pretty neat. The guys that have the like anti-grav boots and the big guns, those would be really cool to do in a quartered, orange and blue quartered pattern. I used the airbrush. I used to airbrush rollerblades when I was younger. Blue and orange are my favorite to mix, no doubt. It's a sharp looking color. It's a really sharp looking combination, Miar. It really is. I mean, you got things that just look good together. Blue and orange, red and black, gray and yellow. Just there are just some colors that, because you're doing those contrasting colors, right? So they look at each other, like we talked about. We looked at the color wheel earlier. So when things look across the color wheel, they complement each other. They contrast, but that contrast is actually complementary. Weird how they figure that, but that's what they say. So, so it is what it is, friendo. It is what it is. But yeah, orange and blue is a nice. It's very striking, which is why you see it in a lot of sports teams use it. As we mentioned before. So, all right. So, guy friendly, I had a nice surprise from Savage Brewski tonight. You would know Savage Brewski from his appearances on Patty's Sunday Hobby stream. He sent me some cargo markers, right? Some objective markers. Looks like scenery bits. These kind of elfy, sort of, kind of almost ancient Egypt sort of a look and stuff. Elf or Eldar, space elves. So there's a Kofesh in there and some sculpting. Another amphora, what looks like a suitcase, or a treasure chest of some sort, or a supply chest. Here's some cool looking crystals and the like. So he sent me those. He sent me a couple of Reaper brushes, so that was cool. Very very generous of him. And he sent me some Reaper figures. We got King Tut, or Tut, from the Bonsylvanians line. We got a small gelatinous cube for small places. And he also sent me a Than Valand human cleric. So looking forward to painting that dude up. Looks pretty cool. Lots of really neat things about that one. So the Orangemen. Yep, there you go. Syracuse, the Orangemen, right? So this has been just trying to catch up and do some of this orange on here, and I'm gonna use. So we've got teal on their chest. I thought about changing that to blue. I don't know. The teal looks really good though. Maybe we'll do blue on the helmet lenses. But yeah, here we are doing doing the touch-ups, because what I did is I gave these all a wash with Agrax Earthshade, and it kind of knocks things down a little bit. So I wanted to bring that color back up and let the actual shading actually shade the panel lines instead of grunging up everything. So we got about 10 more minutes here in the stream. Let's see what all is going on here. As far as how far can we get here before I have to hang it up for tonight. Now I know there's a way to raid out on Rumble, but I don't quite understand it. Pat showed me how, but I'm yeah, thanks, Guy Friendly. That was courtesy of Savage Brewski. So that was very kind of him to send that out. So I was saying I don't really know how to raid out on Rumble. So when it comes that time, we'll shut off Rumble and we'll shut off YouTube. But we'll always say good night in our own special way with the sign off that means so much to so many, I think. I hope it means something. I hope it's a meaningful sign off. It came about because shortly before I started my channel, a friend of mine decided that tomorrow wasn't going to be good. So always try to end on a positive note, a positive thought, because tomorrow's always going to be better. I guess he figured today was as good as it was going to get, and it wasn't going to get any better later on. So that was a while. That was 3 years ago. Yeah. Shortly before I started my channel. So that wasn't fair. But that's why we say what we say at the end of the show. Now, if this was Possum Lodge and I was Red Green, we'd say, I'm a man, but I can change if I have to, I guess. But I'm a bachelor, so I don't have to change. Ha ha. I have no honeydew lists. And I kind of like it like that. All right. That's not terrible. It's come along pretty nicely, actually. Now his helmet, I think, is since he's a sergeant, I think he's going to get a little bit something different on his helmet. I don't think it's going to be orange. So maybe sergeants get blue helmets. We'll try that. So that might be a good place to work it in. I don't know. I do not know for sure. All right, let's see what we got here. So this orange that I'm going here is a little bit pale. There are certain parts of this gentleman here who I think I had a better orange before messing with the orange values, but let's just lean into it and see where it all takes us. That's part of the fun of painting, is it just takes you where it wants to take you. And sometimes you're just along for the ride. But I think we're just about there for the evening. All right. So I think I've got most of the important parts covered with that orange. With orange. Come here. Little fiber going on there. Maybe, let's see, what is this? Clear this up a little bit. Clean that up just a smidge. Yeah. So we'll see how that works out. Yeah. So that's good. Now I think I'll leave this alone because, well, maybe, will I leave this alone? Of course I won't leave it alone. I don't know what color it really wants to be. So we'll just make it match everything else. But it was a nice color orange before I messed with it. I don't know. Well, anyway, there it is. So these are the Nova Wolves. Work in progress. Orange, orange, orange. Aren't you glad? Orange, you glad they're not blue? These are Space Marines. Orange, you glad they're not blue? So, but that orange is coming out pretty good. The wash being left in the recess and retouching up back to the base color. It's something that I always preach, but this time you can see me actually doing it, because a lot of times I don't do it on my other builds, my other paint jobs, because it's not necessary, because I don't use a whole lot of wash a lot of times. But the Games Workshop style, where you just drench the whole thing in wash, and then people just go on with that, which is fine. But I wanted to bring it back to a cleaner look, so I went ahead and brought it back like I always talk about. But now you've seen me do it, so not that I've ever been all talk about anything in my life, really. Um, this is exactly what we need to do what I wanted to do. So I've talked about washing and then re-highlighting or retouching the base coat. And so now that's what I did tonight. So words in action. Words become deeds, right? So here we go. And like I say all the time, I'm going to say goodnight to YouTube and Rumble, and then we're going to raid out over here on Twitch. So, good night to YouTube and Rumble. Remember, no matter how bad today was, or might have been, or could have been, the sun is coming up tomorrow, and the world is a better place with you in it. Good night.